I didn't realize how much I missed that intro, and I miss you. How are you, Rachelle?
No, yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. I was like looking forward to it all week, getting to see you and have our guest on as well. And I thought it's been a while. I got so used to seeing you, like not like this, but in person for this first part of this year, that it feels very strange to me to not see you in one form or the other. But so I'm very happy to be here tonight with you and everybody who's joining in, and knowing that I will see you in like a little bit more than I think a month.
Oh my
Uh,
God, that's right, because
I
of the
know.
Tech Roadshow.
Yes. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to tonight, of course, because I've had people say like, "Hey, where have you guys been?" And like, we've been like busy, more so you than me, because with conferences and events and stuff like that. So I've been busy in different ways. I haven't actually been out there a little bit, but
You are
anyway,
always busy.
I know.
I was just sharing. I want everybody to see this. So I was sharing this to my Facebook page. But yes, I've been subbing this week, and I'm going to be subbing next week, and I'm going to be doing a long-term sub in April. I'm really excited. I'm a middle school teacher right now, and I just think that if there's not a book that's teaching middle school for dummies, there should be. And if I'm thinking about writing it as I learn. So if you're
Yeah.
watching, guys, and you have any tips for teaching middle school, I would love them. I will not turn them away at all. I feel like so many emotions, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, but there's so many emotions that hit you like all day,
Yeah.
and all the eye rolling. Oh my God, like all the eye rolling. I don't know. Anyway, that's a different conversation, but it's
Oh
great to
my
see
gosh.
you. Life
You
is definitely
too.
changing. And I just appreciate that we, got a later time so that I could participate tonight. Because the guest that we have on today is one of our favorite guests.
Yep.
She's returning. This is her third time or fourth time?
Third time.
Third time.
Yeah. Third
And
time.
she's just written an amazing blog that I just read. I'm so excited to have this conversation. And
Me too.
yeah, do you want me to bring her up?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
And we're going to have like a leaderboard or something too, I think, of like who, the number of guests we've had on like multiple
Mm-hmm.
times. So yeah, let's bring Michele on up.
All right, Michele Pitman. Woo! All the
Woo!
way from Texas.
Hello. Hi,
How
Rachelle
are
Mel.
you?
It's so good to see y'all again.
Okay,
You too.
wait.
We
When
love having
Michele
you
is
on.
on,
I know.
it's Rachelle Mel and Michele.
Yep.
Yes.
It rings so well. It's awesome.
And we always have such a good conversation. So, Michele, it's great to see you again. Boss lady, badass woman. Woo! So glad that you're
Uh-huh.
here. Yes. Tell us a little
Yeah,
bit. I know
wait.
that people probably know all about you, but tell us a little bit about you. Yes. Boss lady
Boss
vibes.
lady
I love it.
vibes right there.
Well, I am the founder and CEO of IntelliVol, and we are the maker of X2Vol, which stands for Time to Volunteer. So we really put a system in place that allows students to track and report on service as well as work-based learning, CTE, internships, that kind of thing. So we work with schools and districts across the US and Canada.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, yeah. So what is something that's changed since we last saw you?
Well, we have been getting right back into the new school year, and we're seeing a lot of activity. A lot of the programs are coming back full force. A lot of students are just re-engaging, and they're just more present, I think, in everything that they're doing. So it's kind of difficult last year, but coming into this new year, it's been really good. So.
Yeah, that's we were talking before we went live, and then we've had in prior conversations too. Like in my school, we have like a program that students go through, and they do different things each year, 9, 10, 11, 12. And part of it is volunteering. Some of it is like job shadowing and stuff like that. And I know some of those things were like difficult in the last couple of years because not being able to go in person or something. But each year we think about ideas for students to get out into like the community or to learn about work. And it's been really neat this year to hear so far up to this point, some of my students that have gone out and done some volunteering who really struggled with like, I don't really know what to do. And then they've gone out and they've spent some time in some different local places in our community, and come back and said, I spent time at this community center and I got to talk with somebody who's there and I learned about this career that I never thought of, and like the conversations that just go. And so it's nice to have those opportunities, plus the skills that the students build in those, in that process. But and I enjoy it because I get to learn about all kinds of things about the kids, about what's available out there in the community. And I think sometimes it's hard for schools, for students to realize like what is available within the community and how to kind of make that connection, because it can be time consuming too. Like there's all of these different variables. And so I don't know, I'm excited because I had seen your recent blog for EdTech Digest and read it and loved it. And I know Mel just read it and was like, wow. So
I'm going to drop it.
You're going to drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Okay.
Like, I was going to say that. And I was like, I don't know if I should say that. So,
okay. My copying and pasting, I have these already, but you know what? I'm going from like a Dell to a Mac. And so I keep pressing the wrong button. So I'm not as fast as I normally am. And I want to apologize for that.
That's okay. I can grab it, or you and I.
I got it. I just did it. I did it.
Oh, I almost dropped it in the chat. Whoops.
It's okay if you did. It's the more the merrier. But I know that's so weird how my brain. It's yeah. So check out this latest blog, and it's definitely something that I loved just right when I saw it, because it's about community, about embracing and welcoming our students into their community, and I'm going to drop some quotes as well. But tell us like what inspired you to write this blog article.
Sure. Well, we're going into our 15th year. So, and all this time we've been talking about students going into the community, and it's just a normal language that we use as, schools, and then us, as the developers, we're constantly using that language. And then this past few months, I've been really thinking about the language that we use, because we have so many new groups of students going, they have a requirement, but this is their first time because service was put on hold. Work-based learning was put on hold. Things were put on hold for 1 or more years. And so it's basically, having to reteach a lot of students and, reintroduce service. And so I thought, why don't we change the language as we're doing that? We have an opportunity to just change the way we think about the community, and everybody's view of the community has really been impacted as well. So it's really important kind of just to change our language. And so that's what I was thinking. I thought, students aren't going into the community. Students are the community. They are the community that surrounds them. And so every community is going to be a little bit different, because the students that are in the community that are the community are also different. And so their ideas, they're very creative. They have a lot of, new ideas to bring to the community. And so as the community embraces just kind of that concept, then I feel like a lot of things are going to change. There's going to be less of, hearing about a requirement and saying, okay, I have to just go in, do this requirement, and then come out. So It's just kind of that way of thinking.
Yeah. And not to cut you off, Mel, but I had a thought. And if I don't say it, like,
go ahead. Yes, say it.
Like, it's going to be gone. But just thinking about, and I got to cover up the special guest here, but the just saying, everybody's welcome on this show. The one thing that I loved about it too is talking about, you said like, in public schools, like a lot of times students will think about that, oh, I have to do this. It's just one more thing I have to do. But I don't think they realize, and you pointed this out in your article, is that like this service is a way that they gain this experience, whether they're going into college or career or just applying for a job. And they may not, like I always joke, I'm like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Like I say that still, and that is to an extent, that's true, because like we're learning about ourselves, and there are things that I might be interested in that I don't know about, because every day I go to school, I teach, I do other things outside of the classroom, and you get into that routine. But then whenever you have those connections, like it just might be that one idea. Because I've had, like I said before, I've had students, even like my cousin's son was so focused on doing this one career, like for like 4 years, and then went out, did some volunteering, and came back and had a total change into what he wanted to do.
Mm.
And it was because of that experience. And then whenever he applied for a job, they asked him about, did you do any volunteering? Did you do any community service and everything? And he said, well, yeah, I did this. And they said, well, what are some of the things that you learned? And he named them. And like that kind of gave him kind of an edge into like getting into this little program that they had. And so it's like, in your article, when you wrote them, like, yes, that is so true. Like I don't think they see it that way initially. And I don't know if that just needs to be part of the conversation, where it's like, you never know, like this might lead to a job in the future or a connection that's going to help you in the future. I don't know if that's just that another part of the shift in thinking, like that you bring up.
Mhm.
Yes. Another thing that I haven't written about yet, I don't think it's in that article. I didn't mention the social capital side of it, but really going out and really being for that nonprofit organization and wanting to help them any way that you can. And then, like you said, you're meeting people, you're making connections, and it's just something that happens naturally when you're helping other people, and then they connect you to other people, and you're just widening your network in a positive way, just because people are going to make those connections for you because they know that you're out there to help others. You want to, learn along the way. And there's just so many opportunities for that. And you never know where that's going to go. It could lead to a career path that you never even thought about, like you're saying, Rachelle. So, I'm excited for this generation of,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that. I mean, I love this so much. Yesterday with the 7th graders that I'm with right now, we were doing a community like project. We were talking about things that are happening in their community, and why I think this is so important is because, right now, who wants to learn about like just, I don't know, the curriculum can be very boring, it can be very dry, but when you talk about like things that really matter, their community, they don't have to wake up. They don't have to wake up. They don't have to wait to grow up. They do need to wake up, but they don't have to wait to grow up to be a part of a community. They don't have to wait to grow up to contribute to the community. They don't have to wait to grow up to start thinking innovatively, to design solutions to the problems that are that are personal to their community. And what better way to say you matter? This is your community. What do you see that needs to change? In Anchorage, where the school that I'm teaching at right now is in, and I just want to give a big shout out to Stream, Anchorage Stream Academy. It's an amazing middle school. I mean, I cannot brag enough about it. But homelessness is a real problem. And I'll tell you, when we were talking about homelessness and about how it affected their lives, most 90% of the kids were they were just listening, and they wanted to contribute to this conversation because it matters to them. And I think that's the best way to get young people engaged is teaching through things that really matter. And like you guys said, it prepares them for the real world, and it turns them into passionate people who are ready to embrace the challenges instead of just say, well, that's somebody else's problem, because they're going to be, come on. How many people do we know that's how they feel? So
Mel, that was a mic drop right there. If I had a mic nearby, if I had a prop for my prop box, which is at school, there's probably a mic in there. I would just like drop the mic right there. But you're right. I mean, and that's a great point, especially just sharing your experience, from your school and what you're seeing. And I don't know. And it ties in so well to the social emotional learning too, because students are looking, they see especially if they're in a small community and they don't go beyond that, being able to go out and connect with somebody that maybe it's in a company that works with, internationally or nationally, and learn about issues that are out there, or like even in my classroom when we've done like project-based learning, and just that heightened awareness of things, and getting the different perspectives, and then seeing that they can be a solution to the problems that are being faced by people that are globally, but also being more open to it and recognize it in their own community. I think that's huge. And for them to see that and to realize, like, I can make a difference. Like I might be in 8th grade, 9th grade, or whatever, to know that they can make an impact. But they just sometimes they do need that little bit of a nudge, not going to lie, but.
And I think parents and teachers can also help by, if they hear a student, talking about a particular problem in the community, then just encouraging them to solve it. Like, what would you do? You know,
Right.
could you get a couple of people together and then just start that? It doesn't take a lot of money or time or effort. It just takes that curiosity and willingness to go out there and do something. And then they get that experience too of initiating a problem or initiating a solution toward a problem that they're familiar with or is impacting them somehow. But just kind of listening in a different way, I think is helpful too.
Mm-hmm. And so once we kind of get that, like X2 Vol, like you guys, you create that platform where they can actually start tracking everything that they're doing, and then it connects with what Rachelle was saying, like going into, maybe it will help them get into programs down the road or get them on a path that maybe they couldn't even imagine at first, but now it's set them on a course that will probably just be life changing.
Yes,
So.
and they can also, they're tracking their experiences. And so over time, you begin to see a pattern, possibly. A pattern could emerge that leads someone who's kind of guiding them. It could lead their teacher into kind of recognizing a particular pattern in an area that they might want to further explore, because the student may not identify, some patterns in that, but someone in their world might be able to kind of guide them. So once it's documented and they're doing that on a regular basis, then you'll find some interests. They will also see particular interests that they're drawn to. And it's also a good opportunity if they're leaning in one particular way toward the same interest over and over, also to say, hey, why don't you try something different? Like, you've been doing this, you're really good at it, you've gained a lot of experience. How about trying this thing over here?
Yeah. And I got to drop another quote. Sorry, there it goes. Something else that you said there in your EdTech Digest article too, which is on the screen, about the, active learning. So looking at future skills, and the World Economic Forum, it has now, I was referring to 2022 job skills outlook, now it's 2025. And some of those things are, like active learning and collaboration, all of those essential skills. And I love this quote that, like, when they're not active and connected, like, they don't feel heard, they don't understand, the relationships are narrow, and that that inclusivity and that connectedness. And I think that is so essential too in our schools, because we talk about the home to school community and kind of providing for students in all of those different spaces. And when you can do something like this and connect them and get them out there, whatever it is, because you also offer on the blog lots of ideas, which is perfect for this time. I mean, any time of year, perfect for this time of year as well. But that, I think, is a key component too, with developing the social awareness and building the relationships and all of the other essential core competencies of SEL, going to throw in there, which also tie into those, 21st, well into the 21st century skills too. So had to drop that one there.
Thank you.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you did. And I love community, and I think this is where we all grow, and it's not different for students. I love that you are changing the language to be more inclusive, to say, hey, young people, this is your world. We're here to work this with you. This is great. And that is a wonderful quote. Was it from the blog that was just dropped? This quote is?
The EdTech Digest one. Yeah. Yeah. And that was just, especially in an age of technology, students are the community. So everybody should check it out. And the link is dropped all over the place.
Yeah. Michele, do you speak and like inspirationally, like at places?
I have not recently. I used to speak a lot, and I traveled around a lot. But I'm going to be getting back into that. So I really want to do that. And before I do, like, I have just a lot of articles that I want to write this quarter. Like, there's so many things that have happened. I just want to get them on paper. And then I do want to go out and speak, because I just think it's so important. And there's just so much to be done that can be done. And the students are really motivated to do so much. And, they are very creative, and they have,
for sure,
they just have so many ideas. And I just think that being able to recognize students for that, I think they're really going to move the needle. Like, I just feel so strongly about that, because we've been so kind of isolated for so long. And now it's just going to be like, just
For sure. And I asked that because I think that your writing is very prolific. And I'm like, God, I would just sit and listen to you. And I mean, this is Women's
Aw.
History. This is Women's
Yes,
History Month. And here we
yes,
are with amazing
that's
women
right.
right
Kicking
here.
off the month with
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And I agree. And I'm glad you asked her that, Mel, too, because I was thinking the same thing, like just the thoughts and the quotes and like just everything in that article, just it resonates. And I hope that people will check it out and read it because I mean, it's a lot of great advice and you should go out and speak more. I mean, goodness, there's no shortage of opportunities that are out there. There's like conferences and events happening for every level, every role, everywhere
Yes.
around the country. I mean, and even virtually too, because travel can be difficult, but just to even, I think the benefits of like connecting with schools, to talk to schools, whether administrators, coaches, or even just being a guest speaker to talk to some students about the importance of volunteering and getting out there in the work-based learning and what that impact is. I think is huge. You know, those, you know, like a little side note, Mel, you talked about subbing in 7th grade and, you know, Read Across America. Today I went in and read to a 7th grade class and I loved it. I love being able to connect with them and just them getting, you know, it's one thing for their reading teacher to say like, hey, you know, you should all read a book, but for somebody else to come in and talk about their experiences and how that made an impact on them. I mean, I think, you know, the same for you, like your background story of how all of this came to be. And then all the steps in the process. And now here you are, you're writing these blogs and posts and EdTech Digest and on, of course, X2Ball's site, but just to share that message and connect with schools. So hopefully anybody's watching, just saying, give them a high five.
Yes.
Just going to put that out there.
Get
You
Michele
know,
on your platform.
you can talk to our people. We'll talk to their people. So
That's right. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And I probably already said this and I'm sorry, but this is, I'm very passionate about all of this. And I've always loved service learning since I was a young teacher. That was something that's been very important. But when we think about engagement and why students aren't coming back to school anymore, why dropout rates, you know, keep increasing, I feel like there's such a disconnect between what is really important for students individually and what we are putting out in schools. And if we want our students to come back and be engaged, we have to give them purpose. And so many times that purpose is lost and they don't see it and they don't, you know, there's other ways to go about their life. And this is where it's at. You know, this is what's important. This is their world that they're inheriting. And I feel like that's kind of the message that I take wherever I go. I never want my students that I'm ever with to think that they have to wait to grow up to make changes, you know, or to you know, they can problem solve. I don't know. I love it. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm preaching to the choir and I'm on my soapbox and I'll get off. But
it's all good because we're on lots of soapboxes right now because we're on like lots of different networks.
This is our show. We can get on our soapbox, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's been a couple of weeks, so we're just bringing it today. Just bringing it.
Oh, we got a comment. Yay. Nicole says,
right.
she's sharing. Hey, Nicole. Oh, wait, this is Nicole that is like in a tornado watch right now.
Yes.
Warning.
Yes. Yeah. Nicole is dedicated. Nicole, we love you.
Thanks,
Stay
Nicole.
safe.
Stay safe, Nicole. And the spring is here. I posted yesterday. So I'm right outside of Anchorage, Alaska. And I said, before I moved to Alaska, March 1st used to excite me. And now it doesn't. I'm like record blow it snow. Well, you guys in Texas are facing major spring storms, which I don't really miss that, honestly. And Rachelle, you're traveling tomorrow and you've got like crazy wind coming. So the weather right now is ridiculous. So everybody be safe wherever you are.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Everywhere.
Hey, do you guys want to play a game?
Yes.
We want to play a game. Can Rachelle make one up right away?
Do you want to do I can do some games we can make up.
I have a couple questions I can ask in the meantime. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
So here's the first one. And one of them is not okay. First of all, I'm going to say I'm not playing Two Truths and a Lie because I'm out of options on those ones. Okay.
I was going to go to that.
Out of options. Everybody has heard me say the same ones again. But here's my question. So, and it's tied into this. So would you rather work the same job for a year straight every day or work a different job every day for a year? I thought about that on the way home. I was like, that may be a good question. These are things I think about.
So work the same job every day for a year or work a different job
every day for a year. Yeah.
Just for 1 year?
Just for 1 year. Yeah.
I would do a different job.
Me too.
For one year.
Wouldn't. I
for a whole
wouldn't.
year?
I'm not adventurous like you guys. I'm like,
Oh
I
my
want to know
gosh.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I need to know how much time in the morning I need to get, to get ready. Do I need to wear makeup? Like, I don't know if I could handle all
Well,
of the
Mel,
changes.
you could probably like plan it so that 3 of the days of the week, like it was a remote job because so many are remote right now.
Oh,
And just be like,
that's
I don't have
true.
to worry about it. The camera doesn't have to be on. You can put a nice filter on. It'd be good. Okay. So my next question is this. If for 1 week you had to eat the same food for every meal, what would that be? That has
Chicken and
nothing to do with
dumplings.
work.
Chicken and dumplings. I love chicken and dumplings.
Oh, I would probably for breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Yep. Just over
Chicken
and over.
dumplings.
probably a peanut butter sandwich.
Really?
Because it applies to all three categories.
Oh my gosh. I also did think about this question on the way home, and I got to the intersection in my housing plan and I cracked up at myself because apparently I find myself funny sometimes. And I was like, I'm going pancakes. I'm asking that question. I'm thinking pancakes.
You
Yeah.
can make pancakes savory and sweet. You can change up pancakes.
Yeah.
Yes,
there
you
would
can put
definitely
things
be bacon.
inside the batter,
Uh-huh.
fruit,
Yeah.
meat.
I make really good pancakes. You can even make what are the kind of similar to pancakes, but they're really
Crepes?
tiny? Crepes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are
Crepes.
good.
Okay, and I
Yeah.
have one more.
Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I know. I was
These are all your
thinking-
original thoughts.
They
Okay.
are. This was all just in my housing plan when I was coming home. So the third question I have is, what is the most interesting, probably people would get, you really did that as a job? Knowing you today, like what might they be surprised to know about a job that you had, an appropriate job that you had?
Appropriate.
What are you saying, Rachelle? Are
No,
you directing that
nothing.
towards me?
Never. No, just like, I don't know. Because somebody might think like bartending is not like, because we're educators, they might,
Oh,
that's what I meant.
I think a bartender is way appropriate. A lot
Well,
of teachers are actually bartenders.
They are, but there were cases when I was, in law school, there were cases about like some teachers that had issues because they were like trying to supplement income and they were working in restaurants and serving as bartenders. So I was always nervous about that because I did serve, like I was a server and a bartender. So yeah.
That's so sad. But now teachers can also have tattoos and they don't have to wear makeup over them or, cover them up. I mean, I think
I
our
know.
world is changing. So
It
you
is.
were a bartender?
Yeah, but that's not the one I was going to go with. I was going to go with the grocery bagger. I was the fastest bagger around, man. I could pack all that stuff in there. It was great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I built models.
Did you?
You built models?
Yeah, and our client was Disney, so we we built just tiny little miniature like models. So I was in charge of like putting tiny little pieces together because they were small models of bigger things they were going to build. So
Wow.
that was the oddest job, like strange job I had.
That's really cool. Oh my God. I was going to say, I want to pick your brain about that. Yesterday, I was talking to a teacher who is retired, but he helps out at the school quite a bit. And I was like, listening to his story. He was telling me about a story. And I said, you know what? I really want to pick your ear sometime about that.
Pick your ear.
And a student heard me. They're like, what did you just say? And I was like, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it. I think the dumbest job, I hated this job. I've worked different jobs, but the job I hated the most was working at a hotel, at the front desk of a hotel. I hated it so bad. And I was never good at it. And when people would call, they're like, hey, I'm leaving, DFW airport. How can I get to, it was a Holiday Inn. I don't know. I only know left and right and landmarks. I don't know north, south, east, or west unless I'm looking at a flat map. And I'm pretty sure that people didn't come to their reservation because I gave them wrong directions.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that was the worst job I ever had, and I hated it. I was so glad when I finally quit.
How long were you there?
Several months. Like I moved to Texas right after I turned 20, and I got that job like 2 or 3 days into when I first moved there because I had to get a job.
Mhm.
And I started a new school, and I think I was there at least for the first semester, at least 6 months, maybe longer.
Wow.
That's a long
Yeah.
time when you don't
That
like
is.
it.
It was hard. I needed to have money. I was poor. Like It was really hard and I was never good at it. You know how once you're like everything is hard at first and then you get good at it.
Mhm.
I never got good at it and it never felt natural. I was always looking at the sheet. What do I do next? What do I do? But I'll tell you, when the people called on the phone to ask how to get to the hotel, that was my moment of fear. And it was usually I had the late night shift. So I worked like 3 to 11. Ugh. I
Oh
got a
my
lot of
gosh.
calls like that. It was terrible. I was by myself. So
Wow. You know what, and I know we're winding down here, but the other one, and I always forget about this because I've had so many different jobs, but I worked at a steel factory, steel company for a little bit, just like
mm,
filling in. A friend of mine, their parents owned like a local steel mill, a steel factory. And so I was doing like, gosh, I was doing like number crunching things. I don't know how they probably weren't even right, but like double checking invoices and stuff, answering the phone, walking the floor. It was awesome. Like I love doing that. I worked in a fast food restaurant. I was making like hush puppies. I ate a lot, which
ooh.
is why I
Long
don't
John
ever.
Silver's,
It was not. It was a competitor, but
Captain D's.
I'm not going to say. I'm not. There's no
Okay.
paid promotion right now of fish industry, fast food, but it was great. But my favorite like other job besides teaching was always like working in restaurants, being a server. And I always said, I mean, I love teaching, but I said, if I could do that like all the time, because just every day was a different experience, and to interact and to learn, like the regular customers that would come in and learn about what they do in the community and stuff. And I don't know, I just always enjoyed it. But yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to connect with people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Mel, you're so funny. Hotel
Sorry.
clerk.
Yeah, my kids are coming in. They just come in. So we have reached our time, and I want to
I
thank
know.
everybody who tuned in. It seems like we had quite a few people
We
watching.
did. Yeah. I got some side comments and things about people like it's 5 o'clock. Yeah. So some friends watching. So that's cool.
And I'm sure Marianne is watching. She's our
She
faithful
has to be watching. I don't know why she didn't drop a comment. Marianne, I even texted her. I was like, we're
where are you?
live. Yeah. Where are you?
But you, Michelle and Rachelle and Mel, what before we say goodbye, like, do you have any last thoughts that you want to share for anybody watching live or the replay?
I would say if you're looking for opportunities for spring break, like Rachelle was saying, check out our blog, because that's a lot of time. If your family doesn't go away for spring break and you've got time on your hands, there's a lot of really fun and productive things that you can do during that time.
Yeah,
love
and
that.
I love the one you had, like collect food for a food pantry. And like in my school, one of my friends, they collect food and do that throughout the year. And then just things like in the local libraries, you mentioned animal shelters. I mean, there's always a need. And just finding what those needs are in your community. And I will say my advice would be, if there, community organizations and people who do need people to work in an animal shelter or to help at a community center or something like that. Like if there's a school, connect with the school as well and say, hey, you know what? And like our community does that. There's often announcements that come down because sometimes there's just that lack of communication. And you don't know who to talk to. So that's my CTA right there, is like, people need to talk.
Yes.
For sure. And I just want to say that if you are struggling to keep your kids engaged, just totally start checking into the community aspect is golden. It's their community. I love that shift in the language that you talked about, Michelle, and it's going to stay with me to the end of the year. This is our community. How can we plug in? How can we problem solve? What matters to us? And I think that's the most important and the best just way to learn and keep our kids, engaged with what we're teaching them. But thank you so much for coming on again.
Yeah.
I hope we'll have to get you on the fourth time and fifth
That's
time
right.
soon.
Oh my gosh.
Keep breathing. Rachelle Mel, Michelle. It's all good.
Thanks for having me, and just thanks for everything that you do as well, because your content is so good and it's so relevant to people.
Yeah.
So
I guess
Love it.
I can kind of make the heart with my
Oh, you're still broken.
still
Still
broken.
Goodness
Still broken.
gracious.
Not as
Well,
broken, but
that's hard.
But yes. Well, everybody, thanks for joining in. We'll see you again soon. And
Yes,
let us
ma'am.
know if you listened and any of your thoughts, and check out all the links that we dropped, and check out what Michelle does. Her platform is amazing, X Duval. And let us know how you start using it. But have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.